As of December 14th, the High Caliber update is out, but within the last 2 weeks, a few notable streamers have made videos with titles like these. The thumbnails are going to be going up on the screen right now, and other streamers have held discussions sharing similar thoughts on the game within their streams. And a few of these guys are my buddies, so I really get how they feel. But I am going to put out a disclaimer that I'm not boycotting Enlisted, and I don't think that the game is suffering or dying. But what I am here to do is to share my own thoughts on the game and why I personally am not boycotting it in any fashion. So first and foremost, what I want to say is that all of their points so far that I personally have heard are valid. And in case you haven't seen the collection of complaints that content creators have listed, then here's a quick rundown for you. We've got a grindy progression system, unbalanced matchmaking, multi-campaign player base divide, overpowered AI since the most recent update, bombing runs and phosphorus grenades being implemented for all campaigns, and most importantly, the pay-to-win system that appears to be dominating the stores right now. Now, I know that's a lot of points, but it's important to note that the majority are boycotting mainly off of the overpriced squads, weaponry, and kind of the premium pass system. So let's take a look at that. So the new High Caliber update gave us a few new squads, most notably the High Caliber squad, which was released at $79.98, and then the new Tunisia squad, which was released for $49.98.
You serious?
I checked the Steam store today just to compare game prices. I figured the games were around $70, but I haven't bought video games in a while. And I saw that you can buy either Battlefield 2042 or Modern Warfare 2, entire games I should mention, for the same price as 2 squads in Enlisted. In some cases, even cheaper.
You think you could steal from us and just walk away?
Yeah.
Now, most of you who are watching right now know how Enlisted stores prices work. Okay, so for a rundown, 100 gold is the equivalent of $1 US. So if you're new, you might see new squads pop up from time to time, and you may feel like that sounds reasonable for a new player. That the battle pass is $950, so those squads don't sound too bad. But then you start to realize that that's $25, $35, or $80 for some digitized characters and weapons. Now, personally, I've never bought any of these, and I probably never will, and that's a point that I'm going to get back to later. But I want to do a quick overview of the other points just real quickly so that we can address those as well. While it is more historically accurate to have bombing runs in campaigns like Normandy and Berlin, for example, that doesn't really mean that it works well, and I think that's one of the largest complaints that we're seeing here for the bombing runs. And as far as phosphorus grenades go, I mean, like, Japan did use it in early warfare against China, but later on stopped for fear of retaliation from the United States. And if we look at the Germans in the USSR, they feared retaliation as well, so gas really wasn't used. So I guess what I'm saying is that really having gas in every campaign doesn't really make sense. And if we look at the revamp of bombers in the Pacific, it worked really well because they really aren't any more powerful planes to speak of. Plus, reloading zones are so far off of the island that no one really takes the time to do so. So bombers worked because of a lack of air warfare in the Pacific campaign. But in other campaigns, you now have bombing runs on top of regular bomber planes, rocket planes, attack planes, plus not to mention incredibly powerful tank warfare. So it's kind of a chaotic recipe for disaster. Now for these next ones, I'm going to go a little bit quickly so that we can get through them. As for the progression system, some streamers are arguing that it's too grindy and deters players from the game because it takes too long to unlock decent enough weapons to stand a fighting chance. And so this kind of spills over into the player divide situation with that problem. And so my only comment is that from the suggestions that I've heard about reducing the grind, I worry that players would progress too fast, that the incentive of unlocking new rewards would be gone. And as we all know with games, once there's nothing left to really do, it just kind of doesn't excite people as much anymore, which could potentially lead to players not playing as much and opting for other games. So I do think it could be a bit less grindy, but only for the first few levels. And as for the 6 campaigns, there is a valid concern that the player base is being split between all these new campaigns. And that's why too many lobbies are being filled up with bots because of a lack of available players. And as to all this, I can say that's completely true and that we should really stick with just 6 campaigns and be done. And so you might be asking, why are bots an issue? Why is this also being brought up? Well, all I can say is jumping off a cliff, 360 no-scope headshot from 200 meters away, and that kind of explains the AI difficulty right now. So you might be asking, with all of this, why am I not boycotting the game? Well, the answer for me is honestly really simple. This isn't some EA situation where after paying $80 to $90 for Battlefront 2, and some people paid more, we're scammed and given only 4 playable maps, 6 heroes, and some player skins, and then given this message 2 years later. No, Enlisted is entirely free. I have never been required to spend a single penny on this game, and I've never played a game with such frequent, amazing quality of life updates, new content, and expansions for all the price of $0. And yes, I paid $10 for the Battle Pass once, and I've never had to pay again because through that I've earned enough gold every single time to get it again for free. And for all that they offer in such a solid game, they could have easily charged $70 for it, but they haven't. So I'm gonna say something that might tick a few people off, I'm gonna be honest, but I think it's warranted, and that's that the attitude that I'm seeing behind this boycott is pretty spoiled. I've never bought a premium squad, and I perform pretty phenomenally at the game. To date, almost every squad I use is free, with 2 being from gold orders, one that I got from daily crates, or a battle pass gold order. And I'm not saying that I'm the best player because honestly I'm not, but I can do really well in games without paying for anything. And I know a lot of buddies that are in the same boat. And I've never felt like Godgen has pressured me to buy anything at all. And yeah, some of the squads that you can buy are OP for sure, and the Pacific certainly fell victim to that in its first few weeks. But now it's balanced out for the most part. And the point is, I've never found an instance where I couldn't outmaneuver and beat a paid squad with a free-to-play squad. Enlisted continues to give. We now have 6 whole campaigns, hundreds of levels of progression, tons of new vehicles, soldiers, weapons, and equipment, and it's still going strong. And out of all the games out there, Enlisted to me is one of the best ones right now. And I haven't been asked to pay a single penny for all the friends I've made, the fun I've had, or memories I've created. And personally, I've been to school for animation and to go into the entertainment industry, and I know how the sheer amount of passion, dedication, and grueling hours that goes into creating games goes unacknowledged. And it's no easy task, and the artists that make our games today are incredibly underappreciated. So I'm going to continue to play the game, and I hope that you do too. And for all those out there that are angry with Enlisted, I understand your points, believe me, I do, but I hope that you consider the fact that all of this is free, they continue to improve the game, and that this is something that's truly special. I hope to see you all on the battlefield soon, and have a happy holidays from us at the studio.